It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Lucie Lowell. Your maiden name was Emmerich.
Yes.
And Lucie, you were born in 1921 in Berlin, in Germany. And you must be the youngest looking 104-year-old that I've ever had the privilege to meet. And we're here in your beautiful apartment in Miami. And thank you so much for inviting me to hear your most remarkable, amazing life story.
It's my pleasure to meet you. Well,
so Lucie, what do you remember about Berlin and your family?
I had a very happy, good childhood, and my parents were very loving, very generous, and since
we're going to just show a picture of your parents. This is such a beautiful picture of your parents.
Yeah, that was taken about 1938 or 1939. My father's name was Leo, my mother Leni, Helene, but called Leni. And I remember when my first school day, my parents wanted to buy me a new dress. And they took me to a very lovely children's specialty store, and I could not make up my mind between two dresses. So my father bought me both.
Wow. And Lucie, you had a brother, Gerhard, your brother?
Yes, my brother was only 14 months older than I. He was born September 26, 1920. So we were very close in age. We had the same friends. And later he was always very protective of me. When we had group friends, nobody had to take me home. He was my companion and chaperone and took me up to my bedroom door. So I was very fortunate. And well, the years before Hitler came to power, I was still very small. So I remember when Hitler, January 33, came to power, that my father said, that is not very good for the Jewish people. But since he was in World War I, and somehow those Jews had a little bit more protection for some time. And we could still take lovely summer vacations and to the Baltic Sea and to Prague, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary, Budapest, and we still had a comfortable life. But when it came to the Kristalnacht in November 9, 1938, it became very dangerous for Jewish people, and we were taken away our telephones. We did not get newspapers anymore, and no radio, and of course no more business. So the building where we lived, the apartment building, had a very good, decent landlord, and he even did not charge us rent because we could not earn any money. But my father was a stamp collector, and he would sell sometimes some stamps, and so there were some decent non-Jewish people in our life that helped us. Also the butcher, where we were always good customers, he brought us extra good meat, and so I can only say good things about.
I'm just going to show, this is a picture of the street that you stayed in.
Yeah, but it looked very different at the time, really.
And they even have a picture of your apartment.
And the street name was called Berliner Straße, and now they have a different name.
Changed it. And this is just a picture of the building, your apartment. And
this is already after the war. These pictures are after the war, not the way it was when I lived there.
And Lucie, can I ask, was your family a traditional Jewish family?
My mother came more from a kosher home, but my father was a free thinker, and he was born in Westphalia, where the ham was very famous, from Westphalia ham. And the best school there was a Benedictine cloister, Benedictine brothers. So he went to that school where they started Latin and Greek, not English or French, and he knew more about the Catholic religion somehow in this respect. But he was bar mitzvah. He knew the Jewish rituals, but he did not really exercise it too much. But his brother, a few years older, he was married to a woman from Polish descent, and so we mostly went to them to celebrate the holidays. But we went to the synagogue, of course, but not every Friday night. But we had Friday night dinners, not every Friday night, but mostly with families, because my father, they did not keep so much those traditions.
Do you remember the name of the synagogue?
Where we were members, yeah, it was in Fasanenstraße, the address, just off Kurfürstendamm, which was a street in Berlin like Champs-Élysées in Paris. Nice neighborhood. I don't know the name. But
and Lucie, what about your school?
Pardon?
The school that you went to?
Yeah, I went to the public school in Berlin, and there was not such a Jewish neighborhood, so there were not many other Jewish kids in the class, maybe only 3 or 4, and the rest not. We were all friends, we didn't know any difference. And I have a picture of my first school day, someplace in there.
And did you ever experience any anti-Jewish feeling from your friends or
no,
the teachers?
And then when I went to the high school, there was only one other Jewish girl in my class, and we both happened to be the best in gymnastics and in sports. So they never permitted us when there was a game to be on the same side. We always had to be on the opposite side. And we also both were very good students. And we had all the other girls, nobody called us names. When birthdays, we had parties, everybody, and no difference. Only after then, when I was about 12, 13 years old, when the teacher came into the class, you always had to stand up, but then we had to do the Hitler greeting. So we Jewish pupils could not, we could only stand up, we couldn't do that. So it became uncomfortable to be in the school. So I went 1 year to a Jewish school. And once, when I saw one former classmate in the street, she crossed to the other side, not to have to greet me, because not that she really maybe hated me or something, but if somebody else would see that she greets a Jewish, maybe she or her parents would have repercussions. So she went over to the other side to look the other way.
Do you remember the name of the Jewish school? Or the name of the public school?
I remember the high school I went to, that was a very good school, was called Mozart Oberlyzeum. And they really put much value on music, and that the students learned to play an instrument. I had already played piano before classes, and I also started even before they pushed students violin, because my brother started violin lessons, and I said, what he can do, I can do too. So I also got a violin, and we were competitors.
And Lucie, you won an award. You won an award.
This was when I went to the public school. The first year, when you're 6 years old, you had to stay in class also for the religious school. So that was the Protestant story. Yeah, well, I came home to my mother and I said, I heard such a beautiful fairy tale today. They said that Jesus was killed and he came back again. And I don't believe it. Once you are down there, you don't come back anymore. But she said, that's not a fairy tale. And she had to explain to me whatever. But the second year I had to go in the afternoon special to a Jewish class, and I got this book.
And this is the original. And this was an award. This was given to you.
And here is
And Lucie, what was the book on? Mm-hmm. What was the book about?
Pictures of the Bible, like famous pictures of the Bible. My. Where is it?
There's some beautiful pictures.
Here, those pictures.
And Lucie, this is such an interesting miracle. And how did you get the books back?
I have a letter it came from Nuremberg. After I was 8 years old when I got this in 1930 in school. And the beginning of this year, 2025, because of the newspaper article, and I think it came out even in London, Amy.
Yes?
This where you wrote the records.
And this is it came out in the Miami Herald and also in the Jerusalem Post.
Oh, here, this is when I came back to Berlin after the concentration camp. It is addressed to my great nephew, who is really my late husband's blood. I am only by marriage the great aunt. So it says here, dear Stan Roxanne, it is with deep inner movement that I herewith send you the documents regulating the restitution of 3 books that once belonged to Lucie and Gerhard Emmerich. This is one of the rarest restitution cases to a previous owner who is still alive, and I pray will live on healthy and happily to a biblical 120 years of age. Forgive me for thinking today of my grandmothers and grandfathers and all the others whom I had never had a chance to meet and whom I nevertheless miss so much. Please do not hesitate to print out the documents in German and English, sign them both, scan them in again, and send them back to as attachments to an email as soon as possible. We will hurry to send out the books to your address, wishing and hoping that your Aunt Lucie will have the chance to see and hold them after such a long time. I do not dare to imagine what her feelings might be, but please let her know that I am humbled and privileged to be the messenger of such treasures. This is
Okay, and that's it.
And Lucie, when they sent...
That's fine.
Please give my very best wishes and regards to Lucie Lowell and all her family. Yours truly, Leibel Rosenberg.
That's fine.
M.A. Authorized representative of the city of Nuremberg for the collection IKG. Meant the address, do I have to?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
The book of 1930 is listed as a synagogue servant. I don't understand.
Okay.
Anyway.
Lucy, and when you received the books,
When I received the book, I have pictures. I don't know where. No, I let me put this
Together.
so Lucy, these are the books that were returned to you.
Pardon me?
These were the books that were returned to you.
Is this okay?
And how did you feel when you saw the books that...
Just overwhelmed.
It's very special. It's very special. And Lucy, you also... Do you remember going to the Olympic Games?
Mm-hmm.
You remember going to the Olympic Games?
I don't.
The Olympic Games, you remember?
Oh yes, this was 1936. I had a school friend whose father was the owner of the Audi automobiles, and those people got free tickets. So I had the occasion to see a game, and Hitler was very frustrated that Jesse Owens was the winner of all the track and field
Races.
whatever you call it, and that the black man was better than the Aryan race. So it was a very memorable event for me to be there, to see this once in a lifetime.
And Lucy, what do you remember about when the Nazi Party came into power in 1933, when the Hitler Youth, do you remember?
Yes.
What do you remember?
When one vacation time, 1935, we went to the Alps, German Alps, and there my parents bought me the typical dresses that the Bavarian people were wearing, and later the young German girls, Nazi uniforms, adopted this kind of a dress for their outfits, so I could not wear the dress anymore because I was Jewish. So that was one thing. And well,
do you remember your brother's bar mitzvah?
pardon?
Do you remember your brother's bar mitzvah? Your brother Gerhard's bar mitzvah?
Oh yes, I even remember what I wore for this. For this, and it in the book it only says Synagoge Fasanenstraße. I don't even the book only has a inside like my. Oh, look there. It says only Synagogue Fasanenstraße.
For the bar mitzvah? Sure.
Yes.
This was Gerhard, your brother's.
Oh yes.
He received this on his bar mitzvah in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucie,
Here, this is here are the books.
Ah, right. Wait, is it?
yeah,
She is of Stan Roxon and his wife, the daughter. They're not Jewish. She's not Jewish. And they live in Palo Alto, California. Stanley is a professor, and he is with the Stanford University. To look for me, they found maybe my name in an obituary of Stanley's brother, who died unexpectedly only at age 68. And I am named in the obituary. And so they found these people in Palo Alto. If I am, because my name there is Lowell, not something with Emmerich, but so through that they found, researching me, and that I am even still alive to receive this. Most things that they return are to the heirs. The original mostly are departed, but so I am one of very rare to receive the return and still enjoy it.
and Lucie, you're also very rare that you have the original yellow star. This was your original yellow star that you were. When did you have to put the yellow star?
I think it was after the Kristalnacht that we had to be marked, because some people didn't look so Jewish. And the name was not just Cohn, you know.
And this was your original.
Pardon?
This was your original Star of David.
Yeah.
And Lucie, what do you remember of Kristalnacht?
Pardon?
What do you remember of Kristalnacht?
Where we lived was not so Jewish, and I had to go to the subway, which was about 2 blocks from where we lived. There was no Jewish store, so I did not see any of that the night was all broken. And when I arrived at the school, I went to an art school because I wanted to be fashion designer. And when I got to the school, they knew, and it was a Jewish school, and they said, you have to go home right away, we have no school. And they talked about what has happened. I did not even had the chance to see it. And then it became very, very difficult for Jewish people. So I personally did not really see broken windows of stores.
But do you remember the Hitler Youth marching?
Pardon?
Do you remember the Hitler Youth? The Hitler Youth? The Hitler Youth? The Hitler Youth. Do you remember?
Well, I remember everything, but I did not really see it. Later. They cleaned it up, you know. So.
And were you scared to walk in the streets?
Pardon?
You were scared. Were you scared to walk in the streets? Were you scared to?
You know, when you turned 18, you had to do forced labor, because the war broke out in September 1, 1939, and I turned 18 in November 39, and it's early 1940 I had to leave the art school and do forced labor. And so otherwise we had to be there at 6:30 in the morning, and we worked till 6 in the evening, and so there was no time to be in the street, because 8 o'clock was curfew for Jewish people to be home. So
what type of work did you do?
I was lucky all my life, and that's why I am surviving. There was at Siemens, a very famous German, world famous really, factory, whatever, and some people had physical, more heavy work, and since they knew that I am like an artist, they made me paint the insignia of Siemens on a little piece of something. It looked maybe like a battery, and the insignia that was not there already, maybe stamped or I don't know what, engraved, and I had to paint it. So I had a very nice job and something I liked to do. It didn't bother me. and that's what I did there as forced labor, and we did get paid. We did get really money what the other people would also get. And my brother also had to do, of course, labor, and he was working at a place that did elevators. So they called him as a profession, like a monteur. So this was one lucky point. And
your father?
Pardon?
Your father, did he have to also do the forced labor? Your father?
No. It was in the summer of 41, wait a moment. In the summer of 41 came a raid to our apartment, and they checked the kitchen if you had some things that you are not allowed to have, like maybe tomatoes or something. My mother was the housekeeper, you know. So, and I was engaged at that time, but my parents said nothing with the war. Okay, if you want to get married one time or so, engaged, but no hanky-panky. And and he was in our home. And his mother and brother were already in London, and he was after 8, a little bit like, they checked like little, because you have to be home by 8. So because he was in our home, not on the street, but he would have to be in his home. So they arrested my father and him. And for 2 months we did not know where they are. And like almost 3 months, they came home. They released them. I don't know how that happened at the time. And my father was very weakened, emaciated. My fiancé was a younger man. It was not so bad. And that was another time where the landlord did not even charge us rent, because my father could not even go to sell a stamp, you know. So, and but what would I want to say?
What was your fiancé's name?
Pardon?
What was his name?
Where they went?
No, his name of your fiancé.
My fiancé, Kurt, K-U-R-T, Sussman, S-U-S-S-S-S-M-A-N-N.
And what happened to Kurt?
He passed away in the ghetto as my parents.
In the Lodz Ghetto?
Hmm?
Was he also taken to the Lodz Ghetto? Did he go also to the Lodz Ghetto?
Yes. When we were deported, he belonged to the same area where we lived, so he belonged to the same police station. And and we were, and he came too.
So, Lucie, can you remember when they deported you, when they took you from your home?
Hmm?
Do you remember the evening when they deported you?
Oh, I will remember that like yesterday.
What happened?
Again, 8:15, knock on the door. Two tall Gestapo men came, and they said, you have a half-hour time to pack what you can carry, and because only what you can carry, because there are no bellboys to help you, and we have to deport you to a work camp. So I put on a training suit, which was the warmest we had, like when you went ice skating, you know, you wore those things. And thank you. And small, narrow skirt, and over that a pleated skirt, and blouse, and another blouse, and a sweater, and a jacket, whatever fitted, and the coat, and I wanted to put a pair of beautiful high-heeled shoes there, and one of the Gestapo men said, don't pack that, you would not need this where you're going. If you have boots, that would be better. So I left the shoes, and he was right. And so I had maybe one pair of flat shoes. When you were 18, 19 years old, wear those heels, and galoshes we had over in case of snow or rain. And so that's what I wore. And my mother, being a mother, she went to the kitchen to boil yet the eggs that we still had in the house, and put food, whatever you could, like sandwich stuff, to put together, and take not so much care of what she is wearing. And in that rush, she also forgot to transfer her ID card from a bag that she used to wear into a bag that she now would take. So she never had her ID card with her. So then those two guys, after we left, they sealed the door, and and took us to the police department, which was where we belonged to. And one of those Gestapo men even carried my mother's suitcase. And not mine, but hers. And at the police station, they collected the people from the area, and then they put us on a truck, standing. It was the 21st of October, 1941, and they drove us to a synagogue, which was still standing. And there we arrived about midnight, and they collected 1,000 people there for later the transport. So we were only sitting on the floor. And they gave us there a canister with a cover, and they said, you better keep very much eye on that. That's all you would need for getting your food. Okay, there we were till the 24th of October, till they had 1,000 people together. And they took us to the train station, and it was a real passenger train, not the cattle car, but third class, not first class. And we didn't know where we go. I had no idea. And we arrived in Lodz on October 25 in the morning. And it must have had rained there very hard. There was an unpaved country road, thick of mud. I was glad I wore my galoshes. I could, it was deep, hard to walk. And then we arrived at barracks, a little bit outside of Lodz. I wouldn't know really. Maybe for people that came deported, they did not have any space in the ghetto lodge. There was people living, and some people lived there all their life anyway, the ghetto area. Maybe was not a ghetto at the time, but then they made it a ghetto with building a fence, and the Jewish cemetery bordered there, so maybe that's the area they incorporated. And we had only barracks with bunk beds and straw mats, no mattress or bedding. We took from home only a pillow. How can you take a real bed pillow if you carry everything and clothing and just like a camel hair blanket, no real bedding. So my parents slept downstairs. There were three bunk beds like that, and my parents slept downstairs, and my brother and I, and there were 3 people in one thing, not even only 2. And my fiancé, we slept upstairs because we were young, and they were downstairs. So I think there were about 18 people in a small place, and they had a little iron stove there, but not much stuff to heat it. And since it became cold already there, end of October, We did not dress into pajamas. We slept in our training suits. And the water was a pump outside, no running water, nothing. To go to the bath toilet was an outhouse, like maybe, I don't know how many feet, maybe 3 times as long as this area to go to the outhouse. And at night they had a pail by the door. And so primitive and so coming from Berlin, where we had already central heating and bathroom hot water. The stove, you had to heat it, not like today, but you heated the stove and you had hot water bathtub, and there you could not even undress to wash yourself. So after a few months broke out a typhoid epidemic from lice, not water or food. Food was water soup from lice. And we got sick. My mother got sick, I got sick, and most people in those barracks. And the Jewish hospital was also in the ghetto area, which was always a Jewish hospital there. So we were taken to that hospital with very high fever, and there they had to shave our hair because we had lice, and had to take our clothing and also clean it. We got it back later clean. And so they didn't put my mother and myself into the same ward. They had no semi-private or private rooms. There was a ward, also like maybe 20 people in one big ward. But they didn't put us into the same room. And okay, they shaved the hair and we got a bath. It was the first time my mother had long hair, braided, and then she was bald, and that was the last I saw of her. And she passed away there of the typhoid fever after 7 days, and the nurse came and brought me. She had a little bag where she had put a toothbrush and a comb in there to get to the hospital, and she brought me these things. He didn't need a comb. And she told me that my mother passed away. And I was in better shape, and I turned 20 in the ghetto. So by then I was 20. It was my saddest birthday. I came.
Do you want some water? Do you want to drink some water? Some water.
Thank you. There came a woman from the barrack that we slept together. And she was bald. I thought first, I think it's a man coming there. And she told me that my father got sick now too, and he is also in the hospital. And I was already getting better and starting to eat. And so I learned where he is. He was on the same floor, but the women department was this side and the men were on the other side. It was a very long hallway, and so I was already able to walk, and I came to the ward where he was, and I didn't recognize him. And some other people pointed him out to me. But he did recognize me, even though I was also bald. And he was very, very weak, still from the imprisonment of the 2 months before. And anyway, he was by then 58. And he could not eat the food yet either that they put on the nightstand, and he gave it to me. And the next day, when I wanted to visit him, and I didn't tell him that his wife, my mother, passed away, because he was by mind. He recognized me. The next day I wanted to visit him again, and the place where his bed was standing was empty.
That must have been so hard for you. That must have been so hard for you.
Oh, Lucie, that must so devastating, so devastating.
They pointed out to me in the hallway as a bed but covered, and he had passed away. And that was the 22nd of April, and he was buried at the Jewish cemetery in Lodz on his 59th birthday, the 23rd of April. And my brother got sick too, but in the barrack where we were housed was a doctor who was friendly with my father, and when he was deported with our transport, he took along some medication or something. He thought wherever he goes it might be of use for him, and he could help my brother with whatever medications he had, maybe to get the fever down or whatever, and my brother was not hospitalized. And then my fiancé also got sick, and he was in another floor, but I could go and visit him, and he knew that both my parents passed away, and about 6 days later he passed away too. And I had to later inform his mother in London.
Wow. So sad, Lucie, so difficult, wow.
So when later when we all recovered and we were out of the hospital, my brother and I went to the cemetery to want to visit the graves, and the administration showed us where my father is, and my mother, since she did not have her ID with her when we were leaving, they did not have a record of her in this respect. So we never, and they could not tell us where she is buried. So we never saw her grave, only my father's grave. And then when the Russian front came close to Lodz in August of 44, they liquidated the ghetto, and everybody who was still alive was deported to Auschwitz. So of the transport that I was in, of 1,000 people, at the time about 130 survived that epidemic. And they all died like the flies from that illness. And but in the ghetto, after the hospitalization, before we did not work. And some people starved already or got sick from the cold and whatever. So after I was well, I had to do some field work, planting or putting seeds or whatever. And so I ate a lot of the wheat. I did not know at the time that is maybe very healthy. and I put some in my pocket to bring home to my brother to share with him. So this was one thing. Then in the summer I had to work at the shoe factory, Nazis, but the Jewish people were the supervisors there. And we had to tear old rags and cut them to sole sizes, and it was very dusty work, not so healthy to breathe. And one day, maybe after 2 months, they needed in their office somebody who speaks German and writes German correctly. Yiddish wouldn't do good enough, so they picked me and another young woman, little older than I, whom I was friendly with in the ghetto, to pick us, to take us to the office, to work, the office work. And that was again for me a break. We had a little more warm, there was a stove, it was more heated than the barrack, and it was better than breathing this dusty air. So till we were evacuated to Auschwitz in cattle cars. And my brother, the capos, they're the Jewish people that got the jobs. They were dressed always very nice, but with their armband that said capo. They had to rush us out of the cattle cars when we landed in Auschwitz. And so you want water? Amy?
Yes.
The train ride from Lodz to Auschwitz.
Maybe overnight. I don't really know, but we arrived in Auschwitz early in the morning.
And what do you remember when they opened, when you saw Auschwitz? You didn't know about Auschwitz before.
We were rushed out of the cattle car, where we were also no seating, standing, and a pail was there in case somebody needed to use it. And everybody got a round loaf of bread when entering the cattle car, and we didn't dare to eat it because not knowing when and where we would get some food. And so we left the suitcases and just rushed out. And my brother stepped back and took a loaf of bread and gave me another loaf of bread. And then when they separated men and women, I lost sight of him. And they said at the time, if a woman carried a baby or child, to give it to an older woman, because they knew that they would otherwise get to the oven. And they also said, if you don't feel like that you could walk, there is a truck, you could enter the truck and they would help you, you know. So I thought my brother was a little weaker than I. I thought maybe he took advantage of getting onto the truck, and that would take them right away to the crematorium. And I was always very athletic and did like to walk. I wouldn't even think of it. So we passed that famous Dr. Joseph Mengele, and I was pushed to one side, other people to another side. I did not know what that means, so I entered a big hall where we had to undress, where we were standing, and just drop our clothing. And then came the capo girls to shave our hair. So came a girl, she recognized me because her sister was a school mate of mine, and she said, "Did you see my sister?" And I said, "There were 1,000 people. I did not, like, how could I? I did not see her." So since my hair by then had grown back, not as long as I used to, but okay, and it was clean, this girl left my hair, did not shave me completely bald, left me hair a little bit like a boy's short haircut. And then we were really led into a shower place, not the gas. And after the shower, they threw us some schmattes, if it fits you or not, and we were ready to be led to big barracks. I really credit this girl for my survival because I kept some hair and I looked a little more human than others. And when we were led to the barracks, that barrack did not have bunk beds anymore. Maybe they were sold out. And we had to sleep on the concrete floor. Always 5 people together, like always we had to form a row, 5 people, the long thing. So we slept like, spread your legs out and slept one in the other, kept us a little warm too. But at the time it was August, so it was summer. And in the morning, I think they woke us up like 5 o'clock or 5:30, very early, and we had to stand outside like an appel, and they would count the heads, and after that they would march us like a herd of animals to the latrine barrack. It was maybe 6:30, something like that. And there was no paper. There were latrines, 2 rows, like back to back, as long as the barrack was, and wash sinks on the wall. No towels, no paper, no nothing. So, and after that we came back to the barrack, and you never knew when the big, maybe 50-gallon drum with watery soup would be served. We were just laying there, really not doing anything. And after I was there from maybe middle August, about the 20th of August, till about the 25th of October, there came a delegation of Nazi women that needed 20 people to be sent to a factory. And out of the 1,000 in that block, I was picked one of the 20. And also the one young woman, she was from Prague, that was with me working in the office in the ghetto, and we were friends, became friends already in the ghetto. So we 20 got again a shower. We didn't know what they would do with us by then, but we got another schmatter and some shoes, if they fit you or not, and we were transported in a passenger train from Auschwitz to a factory in Sudetenland, which was formerly, it was Czechoslovakia formerly, and the Nazis took that over. And the area, where the factory was called Bernsdorf by Trautenau in the Sudetenland. And it was a factory, I don't know really what they manufactured, and they had a director, which again was my luck. He was something like the man in Schindler's List. There were just also bunk beds, but a little better and better food. And he I think, I don't know, they manufactured big sacks where they maybe carry coal or potatoes or something, and they also did minute work, very minute, where you had to have steady hands and good eyesight, and put things together, but you never saw the end result, so you don't know what it was for. And I got that good sitting job, also not heavy physical work. And he gave us the yarn, Pammy, what do you call that yarn for
burlap?
Burlap. Yes, like burlap yarn and knitting needles if we wanted to do something for ourselves, because we had no underwear, we had no stockings, we had nothing except what they gave us. So, and I knew how to knit. I had knitted my brother a beautiful sweater when we were still home, and so I knitted myself a dress, something that I remembered my mother had a beautiful dress, and I somehow copied it, knitting it, and I knitted myself some stockings that go up to here, and always when shift change came and they turned on the light for 10-15 minutes, I still knitted something, but it was a little scratchy, the material. And so I was lucky with that type of work, and we were liberated by the Russians on May 5. And the Russians treated those Nazi women just like we were treated. They shaved their hair, they raped them, yeah, but they left us alone. And we, at least we tried. I'm sure that the director was a good man, that they should not molest him. I think he got away without much there, but the Nazi women, they were badly treated by the Russians. And when we were liberated, we stayed there another day or 2 or 3, I don't really recall, and we got some document, I think it's in Czech language, and that people should help us and treat us well if we stop on our way home. We have no money. If we need food, they have to give us. And so, but at first, this friend from Czechoslovakia, she said she has good non-Christian friends in Prague. I should come with her. They could help us. And so we went by regular train to Prague, and they took us in, and they gave us clothing, underwear, and shoes that fit me more comfortable. I had blisters from them because they were not my size, and helped us. But if we walked the street, we could not speak German. If somebody would hear German, we were the enemies. She was an intelligent, educated person. She spoke some English. I spoke some English, but not too much conversational. More, but you learn to read, write, and grammar. So and after 3 weeks, I felt, if my brother is alive, we said we want to meet again where we lived. That's the most place we know. And I felt I wanted to go back to Berlin to see if he is there. And when I boarded the train in Prague, there was a passenger car, and just before getting to Dresden, the train stopped because the how would you say, the train, the tracks were damaged, you could not drive there. So we had to get off because Dresden was very much bombed, and I think really completely devastated. And the Russians that were occupying there, they knew that people would have to, from that area, maybe walk maybe a mile, I don't know. And so they were waiting there for people on a truck to drive them to where the tracks are again usable. So we went onto the truck with my new little suitcase with the goodies that the people in Prague gave me. And when we got to the area where we had to again get off the truck, they said, out, 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 and fast, and the suitcase stayed there. And I had again only what I wore, my knitted dress, because it was very heavy to pack it. And there was only cattle cars. No, and I did not even know which train would go to Berlin. I took a chance, and I did not want to go back into the cattle car inside. I went up onto the roof, and some other people, mostly German refugees, they also got up onto the roof. And that train did go to Berlin, and the Russians came on it too, and some Russians, they raped the women there, and I learned some words in Russian, like Ivreka or whatever, I forgot already. And there was a Russian soldier, and so he would not bother me, and he even brought me some food. And then he said I should come with him to Russia. That's all I needed. I was always dreaming of palm trees, and I wanted to get to Berlin, so I had to hide from him too, because I didn't want to go to Russia. So in the morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning, I arrived in Berlin at a station which I knew because my father had his office near there, in more downtown Berlin. And so I knew somehow the area, and it took me from 9 in the morning till 6 in the evening till I came to the place where we used to live. And I was glad I didn't have that suitcase to carry. Left it on the truck. And when I came to the area, the building where we used to live was not habitable. You know, the picture that you saw was in 81. They rebuilt, they did the different. So I went to the police department where we belonged, that was still there, and there was an older police person that remembered my father, because I understand that when you went, like in Berlin, if you went out of Berlin for a certain length of time, you had to register at the police department, and when you returned, register again that you are back. They were very accurate and pedantic, and maybe if something happens, they knew where to look for you, you know. So he remembered my father because he had to travel often in business, and so he was maybe more often at this department to register. So he ordered a younger policeman who had a motorcycle to inform his wife to draw a bath and take me to their home and have to help me. So he took me on his motorcycle not too far from the police department. They had about an 11, 12-year-old little boy, and they took me to their home, and I got a bath and food, and I stayed with them about 3 weeks. But in the meantime, I got ration cards in Berlin, and being a victim of the fascism, I got the biggest ration card, even though I'm only one person, and a one-person ration card. So I could also help them a little bit, but I couldn't eat it all anyway. So, and one day I asked to borrow the boy's bicycle, and I wanted to find a family that we were friends with, and their son was my brother's best school friend, and he was half Jewish. The mother was Jewish and the father was a Christian. And so we knew that they are made more protected. And if it's the other way around, that the father is Jewish and the mother is Christian, they were more in danger. You know that? Yeah. Because they maybe their name is Rosenberg or Lieber, you know. So when I went to where they lived, they had a lovely house in a neighborhood like here called Gables, where there are no high-rises, only villas, and it was also damaged. But the neighboring house was still intact, so I asked them if they know where those people are living now, and they told me. And not too far from there, but apartment buildings. And as I paddled there, I see her from the back with 2 little grocery bags. And when I called her name, the mother, she thought she sees a ghost, because they knew that we must have been deported. They came to our door once and they saw it was sealed, so they knew we were deported, but I returned. So they made me live with them, so I left that policeman's home, brought back the bicycle, and I moved with them. And across the street from that apartment building, not tall, like 2 flights high, was another building like it, and there had there were American soldiers that were at the occupation groups. They were stationed there. So one day I went with her to that little grocery store with my cards I got, and the lady, one soldier was out on duty with his rifle on the shoulder, and I was too shy to speak to them, and she said something like that I came just from the concentration camp, and somehow maybe for some help, whatever, and he opened his shirt and he wurde morgen doppelt. We didn't know he's Jewish. And he said he has 2 friends here, they're Jewish too, and in the evening, like 7 o'clock, they would come over to there and visit with us, but we shouldn't be afraid, they have to carry their gun. So they came and they brought us the candies and food from the store that they could get the supplies. And see, because of this, I got the better ration cards.
So Lucie, this is your original...
Oh, I should hold it?
Please. Here's a picture. When was the picture taken?
Mm-hmm.
When was this picture taken of you? This was after liberation.
Hmm?
The picture...
That's me.
When was it taken?
Hmm?
Was it straight after the liberation?
After the liberation, when I was
in 1945.
back in Berlin.
Yeah.
This was in August 45. I came back in June 45 to Berlin.
So here they've got a date, the 16th of November 45. Wow. And this is, it's a type of identification card.
This is
what they did. This is your... It's
identification at the time, yes.
It's amazing. amazing. And could you speak a little bit of English with the American soldiers?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Yes, I spoke pretty good, but I learned much more when I came to this country. Like often double meanings when you make a joke or things like that, or some slang that they spoke here, you learn. But otherwise I could speak it pretty well. They understood me. They took me in their jeep, which is not even permitted, to the synagogue in Berlin for Rosh Hashanah. And they gave me a little USA button, gold button I put on my coat, and so from far could look like I belonged to the Americans, and because they were not permitted to take civilians in their jeep.
And Lucie, when did you find out what had happened to Gerhard, to your brother?
Pardon?
When did you find out what had happened to your brother?
What I found to my brother?
When you found the news of what had happened to your brother?
Just early this year, through my Stanley and Roxanne and these people in Palo Alto, researching. And they got from Bud Arolson, I have it in the folder, they got the news that my brother, when we were together arriving in Auschwitz, but men and women separated, like about 2 weeks in Auschwitz, they shipped him to Buchenwald. Or Dachau, I don't know, I have to see again. And maybe there they worked the people to death. I read in one of, a lady is writing a book of my story, and she gave me a book of another person that she wrote. And when I saw what these people did when they shipped them from Auschwitz to, I think, Dachau, and they worked them to death, and they did these death marches, and then they sent them back to Auschwitz for the gas chamber. So my brother was about 2 weeks in Auschwitz when they shipped him to Dachau, and just end of October, when I got out of Auschwitz for the better, he got back to Auschwitz where they killed him. And I only learned it early this year in papers.
So for all the years, you didn't really know if your brother had survived? You didn't know what had happened to your brother?
I did not know. I always thought he may have gone on the truck right when we arrived, because he was also a little bit for comfort and weaker than I. And so I thought possibly if he did that, then he would have been gassed right then and there. And since he never came back, I just thought that's where I did not know that they took him out of Auschwitz and maybe worked him to death and then back to Auschwitz to kill him. So he yes, he had it worse than I. I was somehow lucky all the way. First, when I thought back that my parents died in the ghetto, at least they died in a bed and not on the straw sack and not on that bunk bed. and were spared to get to Auschwitz. So better maybe that way. And I was lucky I kept some hairs. I got out of Auschwitz. I always got a good job for forced labor, not so physically difficult. And you look, working. And that's how I survived.
And Lucie, how did you come to America?
Pardon?
How did you come to America? How did you arrive in America?
How I arrived in America? My mother had an aunt that left America, left Germany maybe around 1900. Somehow, I don't know why. And that was the sister of my grandmother. And they kept in correspondence, my family, my parents, with them all their life, to the 20s. In fact, they visited in 1921, they visited Berlin. I was not quite born yet, but my brother was a baby. And they corresponded with them all their life. But when it became really critical in Berlin, and to them they sent always pictures of my first school day and when for vacations, and
I think these pictures, this is why these pictures survived.
Oh,
this is why you have the pictures.
My parents.
Yeah, these pictures were sent to your family.
Yeah, they sent it to. So I got. When I came to this country, they gave it back to me. I would not have had those pictures.
And here you have a picture with you and your brother.
I would not have had those pictures. And so when it became serious, they wrote. In fact, in 1937, we were in vacation in Budapest and Prague, and my parents wrote that we still have a nice time, but who knows for how long. And we still felt okay. And after 38, the summer already, they had a raid at a lake where we used to go swimming. The summer 38 was the first time we could not travel anymore. We had to give our passports away. We could not travel. And so we went to the lake Sundays to swim and dive. And one Sunday was a raid, and they arrested some of our friends, and my brother and I, we could not go that Sunday. There was something going on that we had to be home, and otherwise we would have been arrested too. So it started before the Kristalnacht already a little bit. So they wrote to them, and my parents wanted to send my brother and myself already maybe in 36, 37, 1 year to England, 1 year to France, to Paris, to learn the languages even better. But it didn't come to this, and then they wanted at least my brother and myself to come to America, and the family in New York, in Flushing, New York, they did not want to part the family. They said they would want all 4 of us, not just us. And so they wanted to give us the affidavit. And we had already in our living room boxes piled up to the ceiling and prepared for getting out of the country. And when we were called to the American consulate, they felt the affidavit was not big enough because the family, there were 4 people, 2 daughters and themselves, and we were 4 people. So they felt 8 people, maybe that's too risky, that we would be a burden to the country. So they did not give us the visa, and we needed an additional. So my father had a cousin, first cousin, that left maybe in 38 or 39. He was a dermatologist, and to New York. And by the time they gave us the additional affidavit, the war had broken out and no consulate, and we were stuck, and that was our story, not making it in time. So maybe some people left earlier because they had the need, and maybe because we were not so persecuted, and many people didn't think it would last that long. Maybe started a little too late. Yes.
Lucie, you have original letter.
Pardon?
This is an original letter.
Well, this was an aunt of mine wrote to her aunt in America, and in the early 40s, and the Nazis, they opened all the letters and put their stamp that they censored it. That is, if this is like a document from Nazi Germany, this is.
And this was the letter, the original. And it's got the original letter as well inside.
Yeah, but it's all in German and on very thin paper. This is
in 1940. It even has the date, 1940.
Because a half an ounce would cost already, you know, but that they censored it, that they put their
censor. And Lucie, the American soldiers, the Jewish soldiers.
No, this is not the soldiers.
I know, but they were very good to you, the Jewish soldiers.
Yeah, I show you pictures of the Jewish soldiers. If I find them quickly. This was, for instance, this was the guy we talked to first, and this is where we bombed out area in Berlin when I came back.
Are you in the picture? Is this with?
This is me when I came back from the camp. This was like August.
And you can see the bombed out.
Yeah, this was the same. This was the man that we talked to first, and he showed dit de morgen door. His name was Morris Guralnik.
And you kept in touch with him?
And he wrote something here in the back.
So it's written on the 8th of the 1st, 1945, to Lucie. I have met in the city of Berlin, out of the devastation. May we meet again in your new world. A very happy one from a friend, Morris. And this was written on amazing show.
This was his friend, but it's so pale, Sammy Silverman.
October 1945 in Berlin. Our house, Sammy Silverman and I.
And this was the third one. Lou Alexander. This was summer 45. And this was on the way to the synagogue, September 45.
And was this one of the synagogues that wasn't destroyed in Kristalnacht? The synagogue was one of the remaining shuls that wasn't destroyed.
Oh, maybe the Jewish soldiers gave some. I don't really remember too well. Maybe they made it a synagogue. Maybe it was not really.
And you in the army, in a U.S. Army jeep.
Yeah, that was in the jeep. See. Oy. This was the dress I knitted in the factory.
It looks incredible. Lucie, you were very gifted. You were very gifted.
And I regret when I left for America, I did not bring it. It's so heavy. And I wanted to forget about all that. And it would have really been something for the museum.
So true.
But, and here is, this is the, and this was the woman. She was Jewish and the mother of my best, of the best school friend of my brother. When I came back to Berlin, and they took me.
What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Her name, yeah, Grete. In German, Lanske. And then we helped them, my husband and I, we helped them to come to this country. And here they called themselves Lane, not Lanske. Lanske is German.
And this was taken in August 1945. And are these Sidurim that you're holding?
This is the dress.
And you're holding
Yes, and the soldiers contacted the people in Flushing. They were all New Yorkers, the soldiers, and they helped also that I got care packages. They could not send it directly to me. They sent it to the soldiers in Berlin, and they gave it to me, and they informed their wives to send me clothing. Nylon stockings just were very new in America. And in Germany, with everything bombed, they sent me nylon stockings. Nobody in Berlin had nylon stockings. Yeah, I was the best dressed girl in Berlin. Yes, this was the school friend with his, and he writes there was like about 2 days, but it doesn't quite is correct date. 2 days before I left for America. It was February, it was cold.
In what year did you go to America? Which year did you go to America?
From Bremen.
In what year? Was it 1947?
I arrived in, it was in February 47. I left Berlin for New York.
And did you go by a boat?
Pardon?
You went on a ship?
On a ship, on a troop transport ship. Very elegant. Very, also bunk beds. And not a very nice dining room facility. No dancing on the ship. But my husband, we made up in 1952 when the SS United States was a brand new ship, which was the fastest ship from New York to Le Havre. We took a trip to Paris. I had an aunt there and my cousin. He was in the French army. She was in Gurs. And we visited with them. And then we spent time at the Riviera and took a little side trip to Monte Carlo and played a little roulette. And the ship was first class. And back from Cannes, we took the Constitution through Gibraltar. That took 7 days, and I thought the United States 5 days is too short. That should rather go 7 days. So we made up with a good life here.
Lucie, can I ask, when you got to America,
Pardon?
When you came to America, who came to meet you?
When I came to America, the people that sponsored me, whom my parents were in correspondence all their life, they were waiting at the pier in
New York?
February 17th, and took me to their home in Flushing, and they had a nice house and they gave me 1 bedroom, and I, like 2 months, nothing. I should recover from everything, and then I wanted to have a job with fashion design, and they helped me. They found a studio on Times Square, and so I
This is the sketch that you
Yeah.
did. I'm going to just bring it over here. Original. This is the sketch. Yes, I'll bring it back. You were very gifted. Lucie, you were very, very gifted. I'll just put it like this. I'll just show. I'm going to just bring this a bit further down. So this is the sketch that you, and you were self-taught.
Pardon?
You taught yourself how to do this. You were self-taught. Who taught you how to do it? Lucie, you were self-taught.
I have a small picture of it. Amy,
Yes.
the small picture of that.
Of what? The fashion picture. Oh, I don't know, Lucie. Would it be in this folder or there's a different folder? No, that's a different. Where do you put it?
Is it not there?
Where?
The pictures.
I don't know.
Okay, doesn't. How did you meet your husband?
Yeah, okay, that was the story. I moved to Manhattan then because my work was in Manhattan, and my father's cousin, the dermatologist, they lived on east side of Central Park and the 94th Street, and I lived 95th Street on the west side of Central Park. And so one Sunday they invited me for lunch, and when I wanted to go back like 5 o'clock afternoon, they said, "Oh, tonight we get company from a lovely family. They're somehow related to them with his children, and I should stay to meet them." So I said, "I'm not so interested. I have to get up to work next day, so I want to go home." And they said, "Well, you could help me serve something," so that I could not say no. So I said, okay. So 7 o'clock in the evening arrived the old gentleman where you showed me with the wife, the father of my husband, and my husband and his sister, Hedy, with her husband, and another sister, younger sister. And the dermatologist, for me, uncle, they had a daughter, little older than I, and she said, "Oh, watch out for the one son, he likes young women." Okay, so they came, and this young guy, 25 years older than I, sat next to me and told me about nice travels, because business involved traveling. And it was very entertaining and nice, and I liked his sister Hedy. I liked her right away very much. For me, was maybe like replacing my mother. And So when it was time to get home, he drove a car. He asked me next Saturday he would like to take me out where I would want to go. And I said, I heard so much about the Metropolitan Opera in New York. That's where I would like to go. And he said, okay, I will go to the opera, I pick you up. So come Saturday, we drove and they played Carmen. And I have heard Carmen in Berlin in a Jewish theater when they could not anymore, the artists could not anymore perform with the Nazis, and so they founded their own theater in Berlin. They called it Culture Club, and I had a beautiful performance there, and I loved the music and everything about it. And this was Carmen was played by a famous opera singer who was known especially also for that part. Reese Stevens was her name. So we had a very lovely time. I was very happy. And I had another young friend from Berlin when we were teenagers. He was even the first one to take me out in New York when I came to this country. He was same age as I, 25 we were both at the time. He was a few months older. So, and his mother liked me very much. I knew him in Berlin, but I didn't even know he was crazy about me. I liked him, but I was with my brother always. We were not dating any, just alone. And but he was too young to even want to get married. I didn't think of marriage either. But so my husband took over. And we dated, and 2 weeks after that his father turned 80, this old gentleman, and I was invited to, you had him someplace in the passport there.
This is a picture of your in-laws, of...
Yes.
And they were living in America?
Pardon?
They were living in America? They were living here in America?
So they came with him together to America, with my husband. They helped when my husband was in concentration camps. Yes.
This is your husband. And he had the Iron Cross. He was awarded this is the original Iron Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Your husband was awarded the Iron Cross. He had the Iron Cross.
Is it, oh yeah, very good.
That's amazing. And this was from the First World War?
Yes, First World War. See, with all of those things, some Jewish people felt a little bit more safer for some time.
And this is the... And he had this was the his original...
Yeah, this was his leaving.
His passport, and in the passport it had the J, the red J, meaning he was Jewish. And it's on the 17th of January 1939 from Berlin. Lucie, these are the designs?
Mm-hmm.
These are your designs?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I did those in 38 at the art school.
These are amazing. You were so gifted, Lucie, sure. These are incredible. And Lucie, where were you married?
Pardon?
Where were you married?
We were at the, okay, we dated, and in July 48, his sister Hedy and husband, they rented a little house in Rockaway, in New York, up by the beach, to spend summer out there. So we went one Sunday to want to swim and be with them. So we came and they said, sorry, today you can swim if you want to, but we are invited by friends to an engagement party. We cannot take you. It's not fitting. You come with a girlfriend. So my husband said, oh, we came, we wanted to tell you that we got engaged today. I was surprised. And then they said, well, in this case, if you are engaged, you can come along with us to visit those friends. We have a double party. And we did. So this was about the 11th of July. And in summer he wanted to take his vacation. And even if you are engaged, it's not proper to register at the hotel, and you are not Mr. and Mrs. So we planned to get married on July 28, 1948, but only time for the civil marriage. And so we did get married on that day, and this older gentleman was a witness on the marriage certificate, and Hedy's husband. And I don't find my marriage certificate. I know it's someplace, and I didn't find it. And I also didn't find my citizenship paper.
But how many years were you married? For how many years were you married?
I was married short of 39 years. My husband was 25 years older than I. I was 26 when I got married, and he was 51. But he lived to be 90 and 8 months, and I was just 65 to get Social Security.
And you were happy? You were happily married?
Always, never had a fight. He treated me like a princess.
Which you are. You really are.
Maybe for me was a little father figure, because I lost my parents when I was 20 years old, and his sister was for me like
a mother. Wow. Lucie, if I could ask you.
His sister made us move here because my husband had Alzheimer, and we lived in the Los Angeles area, and where we lived turned condominium, and didn't want to buy. We did not have any. We had friends, but no relatives, nothing there. I had no relatives. Those people, we didn't live in the same areas, and I was very close with her, and she made us move to here, and she lived in this building
In Miami.
and so this building, Miami Beach, and so we moved also into this building. I am in this building 41 years, and she lived to be almost 102. She was born in 1899 and passed away in 2001. Her daughter always said she lived in 3 centuries, 89, 1900, and even 2000. See? And she was an amazing woman and my best friend.
Lucie, if I could ask you, what message do you give to the future generations? You've seen so much, you've witnessed so much, and you've been through so much in your life, and you're so positive and you're so incredible, but what message can you impart to the future generations?
I still want to live some more years.
I'd may have stream, but a message for the future generations.
You know what I want to see still? I say so often, okay, we give those speeches, people should learn and should not repeat. And I say already since quite some time, what happens here right now is some kind of repetition. They take people from the street, and we were taken from the street. And later, when you were really identified, you had no choice. And the world, it's a little different, but they don't learn. I don't know. The way...
Well, Lucie, maybe after people have watched this, your testimony and your story, people will learn, and people will...
You know, in the ghetto, when we got to the ghetto, maybe I was young. I had always the wish to live, to survive. Maybe my nature, and I was somehow, I loved life, even sometimes if it is difficult, because I want to see the better.
Well, it is such a beautiful message, and Lucie, it's been the greatest honor and privilege to be here with you. I'm so grateful. I just want to thank you personally. Lucie, this has been for me such a privilege to be in your home, to meet you and to hear your story. I am so blessed.
Well, I'm very happy.
There are no words to thank you enough.
And to come from so far. And you say it's your first time you came
in Miami,
to Miami.
Well, especially to be with you. But Lucie, I'd may have stream. We say I'd may have stream till 120 plus VAT, plus VAT. But I'd may have stream till 120 in good health, and you should just enjoy life. You are somebody we should all strive to emulate. You are amazing. You really are, Lucie. You are incredible.
I was very lucky. I had a good life. I really am lucky, and I have no complaints. My back bothers me a little when I stand too long.
But you're amazing. You are.
And otherwise, I still feel very good to be around.
That's wonderful. And Lucie, can I ask you, could you give all of us a blessing, to Am Yisrael and to everybody? Could you give a blessing to all of us?
Yes, I wish you, also for Israel, I really wish a good outcome.
Thank you so much, Lucie.
I don't know really, maybe I don't understand it well enough. I thought maybe they should have their own country, don't you think?
We all hope for
You know,
for peace.
when we got Israel as our country, when the English, they gave it, I mean back, okay, our history is there, but maybe those people should have their own country.
But we've tried and we try, but they don't want us to have our country. It's very complicated.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I know.
But Lucie, thank you so much.
But it makes so much wishes.
Yeah. Well, please God, there'll be a solution. Please God.
I know.
We all want a solution. We pray for peace and we strive for peace.
I know. All these things are something that I want to be around.
Oh, and you will be.
To see the result.
Wow. Lucie, thank you so much. I am speechless and I am so grateful to you. And you should just be well and you'll be around. We say till 120 in good health and happiness. Lucie, thank you so much.
Then I survive everybody. That's not so good either.
That's wonderful.
Then I have no more, what do you say, people to relate to.
No, you'll always relate. Lucie, thank you so much.
Lucie, give me a smile.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It really is beautiful. Sure, Lucie,
I
that's
didn't want to
amazing.
end on tears.
Yeah.
I don't want to end with tears. When you cry, I cry.
Yeah.